All right, welcome to the show, y'all. A lot to get to today. In just a second, I'm going to give you a breakdown of how many rallies Trump is doing. And spoiler alert, it is way, way fewer than 2016 and I think even 2020, which is kind of crazy because 2020 COVID was happening too, and he was still out there more than he is today. So a lot to say about that. Then we'll get to Mehdi Hassan absolutely brutalizes a Zionist hack in a debate directly to his face. That's fun. The Teamsters president, Sean O'Brien, squirms as Trump's anti-worker agenda is laid out right in front of him. And of course, he's playing coy and say, both sides. So we got a lot to say about that. Elon caves to the Brazilian government, which is hilarious. There's a MAGA host, I believe, on Newsmax who was just flat out calling for illegal voter intimidation. This is what they've now turned to. And later on, Laura Loomer loses her mind at the Republican Party. Gee, I wonder why. I'll explain more. And Matt Gaetz got some yikesy allegations against the Gaetz man himself. So a lot to say about that too. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time. Costs you nothing. It helps us spread the videos around the algorithm as much as humanly possible. It helps the show grow and all that fun stuff. And of course, a big thank you up front to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. We are not like the Benny Johnsons of the world and the Tim Pools and others who are taking Russian government money, or I love how their dodge was. We thought it was just shady billionaire money. Okay, well, I don't take that either, okay? So thank you for supporting the show. $2 a month, $5 a month, whatever it may be. You're tipping on YouTube. That makes a world of difference. All we do is take your small dollar donations, and we have the default ads that run on YouTube. That's how this show is funded. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. So Axios is out with this new article, and in it, they lay out the numbers. Hey, how many rallies is Trump doing, right? Is it fewer than previously? And the answer is a resounding yes. So the title is Trump holding far fewer rallies than in his past runs. Trump rallies held during the 2016 and 2024 election cycles by month. All right, so here we go. You can see here, June, he did more than double in 2016 than he did this year. July, again, almost double. August, Jesus, triple or quadruple the number of rallies. That's what he did in 2016 versus today. September, triple or quadruple. October, obviously we're not in October yet, so we don't know. They may ramp up big time, but certainly June, July, August, September, we're 4 months of massively lagging behind the numbers that he did in 2016. In fact, I remember back in 2016, many of us were saying, like, he really is just outworking her right now. You know, Hillary very famously didn't do some rallies in some crucial swing states, and that came back to bite her in the ass. She took certain states for granted. Bro, he was everywhere. He was everywhere. He was giving rally speeches, and I remember that what he would say in the speech pertained to the state he was in. So when he was in the Rust Belt, he would talk about how NAFTA destroyed your communities and globalization destroyed your communities. I'm going to keep your jobs here, and Hillary wasn't even stepping foot. And, you know, when you watched it as an outsider, you went, he could win this election. Now, not only is his campaign strategy objectively worse, but now he's not even doing the legwork that he needs to do. Every other day, he's down at Mar-a-Lago golfing, or one of his courses in the Northeast golfing, which, by the way, respect. I fuck with that. I wish I could play as much golf as Trump does. But that's the thing is, I don't. And he's running for president, and I'm not. So how does that make sense? It doesn't make any sense. All right, here's what they say. Former President Trump first defined his political brand and paved his path to the White House with big, raucous rallies. Raucous? I don't know how to say that. But he's hitting the trail much less frequently this time around. Trump held 72 rallies between June and September of 2016. He's held 24 in that period this year. That's a big difference, with another on the calendar for Monday. Trump's campaign tells Axios he'll soon ramp up his schedule with multiple rallies per week in the final stretch of the campaign. He'd have to ramp up quite a bit to match the past two cycles. Trump held 69 rallies in October and early November of 2016, taking the stage as many as 5 times per day in the stretch. Bro, that's crazy. 5 times per day in 2016? Look, you got to call a spade a spade. When it came to campaigning, he was like a top 1% type guy in terms of how much he campaigned back then. He just wouldn't stop. Even with the pandemic raging in 2020, Trump controversially hit the road with 15 rallies in September and 43 over the 5 weeks leading up to the election. Trump stopped holding outdoor rallies for a few weeks after surviving a July assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, but resumed in late August. He held a rally on Saturday in North Carolina and has another scheduled Monday in Pennsylvania. So, by the way, one of the points to make about this is they were doing the outdoor rallies because a lot of the venues that were indoors, they still owed money to those venues, and they didn't pay it. And so he was doing these outdoor rallies, but then it was at the outdoor rally where there was an assassination attempt, so now he's afraid to do the outdoor rally, but he can't do the indoor ones at certain venues because they still owe the money, so it's a little bit of a pickle that they're in, and some of that may actually explain why he's not doing as many rallies, right? All right, let's continue. People in Trump's camp give 3 primary reasons he's hitting the road less this time. He's a known quantity, so the campaign feels less need to define him or his candidacy for voters this time around. By the way, this is total nonsense. Like, okay, you had a distinct brand in 2016. You had a distinct brand in 2020. Now you're supposed to be bringing a distinct brand in 2024, but instead you're really not. You're really not. What's his campaign in 2024 about? They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Like, that's the first thing that comes to mind is him smearing Haitian immigrants with propaganda from a Nazi group called Blood Tribe. What else? Like, what is defining you this time around? It's just like anger and resentment is like the first thing that pops into your mind. They continue here. Rallies are expensive. Trump's campaign managers this cycle are keeping a closer hold on the purse strings. And number 3, he's older and more inclined to spend time at Mar-a-Lago. Damn, bro. That's the truth. That's the truth. What's the guys? He's just running out of gas. He's old as fuck, right? When Biden was in, Trump looked relatively young in comparison, but he's old as fuck, dog. He's running on fumes. I mean, he's basically either been president or campaigning for president for 3 fucking election cycles. That's almost a full decade of him just doing shit nonstop. I'm 36 years old in good health, and I feel like with my much more lenient schedule, sometimes I'm like, God damn, I just want to sleep for like 12 hours, bro. So he's just older. He's just older. He just doesn't have the same kind of energy that he had back in the day. And by the way, when you're his age, why wouldn't you want to be golfing every day? Like, of course you should just want to go golf every day and then go chill and eat a cheeseburger and drink a beer and lay on a beach or so. Like, that's the old person dream. And he's subjecting himself to this nonsense. Why? Because he's all narcissism and id and ego, and he can't help himself. But his body's given up on him, bro. He's so many fewer rallies. President Trump's signature rallies remain a staple of his efforts on the campaign trail, they say. Campaign spokesperson Carolyn Levitt told Axios, adding that Trump had also mixed it up with retail campaigning and other non-rally events. Trump appears frequently on cable TV and podcasts, often from his home in Florida. Meanwhile, his running mate J.D. Vance has been crisscrossing the swing states. But by the way, I love that. Yeah, send J.D. Vance. That super charismatic and well-liked man will really rile up people to vote for you. I love the pictures that come out of J.D. Vance rallies where it's like him in a parking lot with like 6 people. That's my favorite. By the way, what I would say to Kamala is, you guys got to utilize Tim Walz more. Like, to be clear, Tim Walz is doing a bunch of rallies, and that's phenomenal, but get him on cable news. Get him on cable news. The guy knocked it out of the park every time he did a cable news interview. Every single time. You need to get him back out there. You just have to do it. Your numbers will go up and up and up. The Harris campaign has needled Trump with suggestions the magic is gone from his rallies with smaller crowds that dwindle as he speaks. That's objectively true. In the statement, Levitt claimed his rallies during this election cycle have been bigger and better than before. That is not remotely true. Guys, when Kamala said people are leaving his rallies early, that's literal. There were videos of people leaving his rally early. Now, you might say, hey, maybe it's because it was, 100 degrees outside in Arizona and whatever. Fair enough. You could come up with whatever excuses you want, but Trump was denying that any of that was happening. And it's not true. We have the video evidence that it was happening. People are leaving, and that is kind of symbolic of what's been happening to his campaign. It's little surprise Trump kept a lighter schedule early in the campaign. His calendar was complicated by court dates, and then his opponent, Biden, wasn't exactly lighting up the campaign trail or the polls. Now, though, Trump is in a neck-and-neck race with a candidate who has proven no slouch at firing up her own base. Okay, so there you have it, man. Guys, these numbers speak for themselves. I wish they had the 2020 numbers in here too, but this is a big deal. This is a big deal. I just don't think he has the energy anymore. And I don't think his heart's not in it as much anymore. You can see at times his heart's just not in it as much anymore. And, people have made this comparison. I think it's true. Hillary 2016 to Trump 2024. There's this feeling of like, I'm entitled to it. Like, you need to fulfill my dreams. Like, you are doing this for me. It's not me trying to serve you, the American public. You get that vibe, man. You get that vibe, and he's surrounded himself with the worst possible people, the dumbest possible people. He's taking horrible advice, pick J.D. Vance for VP. Like, it's just, he's compounding mistake after mistake after mistake. Not an ounce of even fake populism left anymore. I think he's in real trouble. All the signs are pointing to a continued Kamala increase in the polls and Trump decrease in the polls. And so, but this rally piece is a part that, I mean, I hadn't seen anybody try to quantify it until now, but when you actually look at the stark reality and the numbers on the page, it does not look good for him. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.